everybody, and welcome to our virtual sanctuary. And we're glad that each and every one of you are here and joining us. It's day 27 for us, as we are journeying together in this Lenten season. Friends, as you're coming on in, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, whether you're watching this live or if you're on or part of the rewatch gang. It does not matter. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Join me today in Genesis chapter 22. I want to go to verse 10. We're going to go down to verse 10 today. It says these words: Then he reached out his hand, he being Abraham, and took the knife to slay his son. Today, I'm excited about this topic. I want to talk about choosing the giver over the gift. Choosing the giver over the gift. Friends, this statement, choosing the giver over the gift, speaks deeply to the nature of our relationship with God, urging us to reconsider the way we approach his blessings and what our focus should be in our spiritual journey. Let's expand on this idea in more detail. God is immeasurably greater than any blessing he gives us. Let me say that one more time. God is so much greater than any blessing he gives us. His essence, his power, and glory are beyond human comprehension, and yet often we find ourselves measuring his worth based on the tangible blessings he bestows on us. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that God's love or favor is only reflected in the material and visible things we receive, things like wealth and success and relationships or even comfort. However, these blessings are not just a small reflection of God's goodness. They are not the ultimate measure of who God is. When we let our devotion to God become primarily about receiving things, we shift from a relationship rooted in love and reverence to one based on transactions. This is a dangerous path because it reduces our faith to set of expectations rather than a deep personal connection with the Creator. In our relationship with God, our worship and devotion should not be rooted in a desire to get something from him, but in recognizing who he is. We focus solely on God's hand, the things he gives us. We miss the opportunity to know his heart, the depths of his character, his love, his sovereignty, and his eternal nature. A transactional mindset sees God as a means to an end where the blessings are the primary goal. But a true biblical relationship with God is about loving and trusting him for who he is, regardless of what we receive in return. Friends, this is where idolatry can creep in. When we start to worship the gifts, the car, the house, the job, the spouse, or other material blessings, more than we worship the giver, we elevate those things above God. The things we receive from God should never be allowed to take his place in our hearts. We are called to worship the one who provides, not the provisions themselves. The danger of this subtle but it's powerful today, that we can become so attached to blessings that we forget the source of those blessings is far greater. The gifts are meant to point us back to God. But if we're not careful, we can end up loving the gift more than we love the giver, which distorts our understanding of what true worship is. You don't believe me? The story of Abraham in Genesis chapter 22 provides a profound example of this choice. Abraham has been promised a son, Isaac, after a long wait in his life. Isaac is not just any son. He is the child of the promise, the miracle that fulfilled God's covenant with Abraham. Isaac is everything to Abraham, his hope, his joy, his future. But then God calls Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, to give up the very gift that he had given him. This is a moment of ultimate testing where Abraham is asked to choose between the gift, Isaac, and the giver, God. Abraham has every reason to hold on to Isaac tightly. He is, after all, the fulfillment of God's promise. But Abraham demonstrates a remarkable trust in God. He chooses the giver over the gift, even when it costs him everything. At this pivotal moment, Abraham stands at the crossroads between comfort and sacrifice. Choosing the gift means holding on to what is familiar and comfortable, what is known and within our control. But choosing the giver means letting go of everything else, everything we work for, maybe even hope for or cherish. It means surrendering the gift to God, trusting that God alone is enough regardless of what happens to the gift. And I know this is a difficult choice for anyone to make. The gifts God gives us can be precious to us, and it's natural to want to protect and hold on to them. But the story of Abraham teaches us that the giver is always greater than the gift. The gifts we receive in life are temporary. They're fleeting, and in the end will not satisfy our deepest needs. But the giver, however, is eternal and will never, ever fail us. A gift can be given once, but the nature of the giver is to keep giving, always providing our needs, always offering more of himself. Choosing the giver is the right choice, friends, because he is the source of every good gift. Without him, the gift would not exist. The giver is not limited by time or circumstance, but the gift is. And if we hold on too tightly to the gifts, we risk missing the greater treasure that we can see in God himself. The gift can never fully satisfy, but the giver can fill us with everything we need. Finally, friends, when we choose the giver, we're not only choosing an eternal relationship, but we are also aligning ourselves with the very nature of God. God, in his abundance, does not give us just once, but continues to pour out blessings in ways we cannot even imagine. To choose the giver is to enter into a life of continual receiving his love, receiving his mercy, receiving his grace, receiving his presence. In this relationship, there's always more to discover, more to experience, and more to be grateful for. I'm done, but I encourage you today, choose the giver over the gift. Let's remember that every blessing we receive is a reflection of his goodness and love. But the ultimate goal is to know and love the one who gives. When we focus on the giver, we find that he is more than enough and that everything else in comparison fades into the background. Choose the giver over the gift. Friends, today, might we increase our worship and our adoration to God, choose him over what we receive from him, knowing that when we choose him, he'll give us that and more because we chose the giver over the gift. Friends, keep tracking along with us. I'm praying for you on this journey, praying you're staying strong and encouraged and healthy during these times. I'll see you next time.